Awesome.
Sweet. Okay, so hey Sierra, how are you?
Hello, so good. Do you want me to rotate? Is it better to go like this?
Oh, that looks good. That's
That's
perfect.
good. That's better. Okay.
Yes. Okay, so it is Sunday vibes, and I'm having the opportunity to interview Sierra, which thank you so much. Last week in Las Vegas at Axe Monkeys was so amazing to
Oh my
meet
gosh,
you.
it was so fun.
It was great. Like all our energies just came together, and it was a wonderful experience to meet you. And thank you so much for spending your crazy Sunday with me and
I'm
getting to
sorry,
share
it's
your
been so
story.
stressful. Yes, thank you so much for letting me. I'm so excited.
So I'm very honored. You're my first interview, so with me, I may have to pause in between
Oh,
questions.
you're good. You're good.
You have been an inspiration for me and all of the diabetes community. So I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your day today to be interviewed.
Of course.
All right. So starting out, tell me a little bit about your diabetes story and growing up with diabetes.
So I was actually diagnosed when I was 18. So it's fairly new. It's actually been, how old am I now? It's been 7 years now. But I was diagnosed basically as an adult, and I was finishing up high school. Um, and I had had kind of a rough time in school already. I grew up homeschooled until like ninth grade, 10th grade, and
Okay.
then went to high school for a couple years. But I was a little socially awkward, obviously, after not being in public school for the rest of my life. Um, and so I was already kind of dealing with feeling different, getting bullied, and then I got diabetes on top of that. And I've heard it's a lot more common than you would think because I've heard lots of stories from kids now, but it's that people would say like, "Oh, you're contagious." Like, didn't want to be around me when I checked my blood sugar
Oh my
because they
goodness.
thought they could catch type 1 diabetes, or um, they would think that I caused it and were like, "You ate too many Ruffles potato chips," because I love my Ruffles. But would think that I caused my own diabetes, so I had to deal a lot with that, and I really did not want an insulin pump. Um, because of that, because I didn't want a physical thing on my body showing everyone. Oops, hang on, I'm getting a call. Showing everyone, I didn't want a physical thing on my body showing everyone that I was uh, more different than I already felt I was, if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense. I know I was awkward when I was 13. I was diagnosed and devastated.
Oh
No
man,
one
that's
in
a
my
hard time.
family no one in my family had it, and being in middle school, junior high at the time, I was like, "What do I do? I'm already awkward, I'm already different, and now I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
this thing called diabetes."
Oh
So it
god.
was an
Yeah,
awkward time for me also, but
yeah.
in 2014, I saw you on TV, Miss Idaho, which is amazing, and your Show Me Your Pump movement. How did you get started with that, and what does it really mean to you for the Show Me Your Pump movement?
So like I said, wait, hang on. Can I pause real quick?
Yeah,
I think I'm a little low. Oh, why does this keep
yeah,
happening to me?
definitely get
Let me go
shook.
grab some fruit snacks.
Life in real time, avocado. This is what it is being a diabetic. You go with the flow.
Oh god.
Do what you have to do. Sit down, get some juice. Oh, I
Okay.
like your hearts on the
Oh, thank you. I had
yours.
Galentine's Day, a Galentine's Day party.
Oh,
So
perfect.
I still have, oh wait, the decorations up from it.
Yay, perfect. Nice. I know I was running high because I was so nervous interviewing you. I was going like 180. So I'm like, 1 unit, 1 unit.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I took so long. The traffic was so bad.
Okay. Life happens.
Let's
Gummies are always yummy.
see. Okay, I'm good. So, what was the question?
So in 2014, you started the Show Me Your Pump campaign. And what does that really mean to you?
Okay, so like I said, when I was in high school and first got diagnosed, the thought of getting a pump was completely out of the question. And then I saw or heard about Miss America 1999, Nicole Johnson, who has diabetes and wears an insulin pump. And that was the first moment in my life that I realized that everything that I was being made fun of for, whether it be diabetes or something else, was ridiculous to be made fun of for, and my peers were out of line, and that I could be beautiful with type 1 diabetes and an insulin pump and everything else that I thought was weird about me, because Miss America had an insulin pump, and I thought that was so cool. And realizing that was so empowering for me. Um, Getting the understanding. I think a big part of growing up and becoming an adult is understanding that you are who you are and accepting and embracing that rather than I think throughout like, at least my childhood, and I think this is true for a lot of people, it's a constant struggle of trying to fit in and trying to assimilate to those around you and trying to avoid like being made fun of. And I think a big part of my growing up was realizing that I wanted to be myself and be myself unapologetically. And Nicole Johnson was a huge part in helping me come to that realization. So at that point, I was like, I want to do this for other people. This feels so great. I want to wear my insulin pump at Miss America, and I'm going to
Very
do it.
cool.
So I competed in a couple pageants and I lost them. And then I finally won one and I went to Miss Idaho and I got
Mhm.
eliminated right away. It was a long struggle, but eventually I won Miss Idaho and I went to Miss America wearing my insulin pump, and I got to follow in the footsteps of Nicole Johnson and wear my insulin pump on the Miss America stage, and hopefully inspire a lot of other girls to know that they are beautiful with their insulin pump or with whatever insecurity that they have, that that's part of who they are and they should embrace it rather than try and change it or hide
Oh, you're giving me goosebumps. I love it. Wonderful.
it.
So when you were still a teenager, you wrote a book, Sugar Linings.
Yeah, I published it when I was 21, actually,
Okay.
I think. Yeah, 21.
And what is that all about?
So Sugar Linings, it's called Sugar Linings: Finding the Bright Side of Type 1 Diabetes. And the four things that I cover are diabesties. So there are so
Mhm.
many friends that I've made because of diabetes. And I think, well, to back up, the point of the book is diabetes sucks, but let's make the best out of it by focusing on the positive. Um, and so a huge one, and my favorite one, is all the friends that I've made. I talked about this at the conference that like I think the best tool to manage your diabetes and deal with your diabetes is having friends around you so you don't feel isolated and that you have people that know what you're going through. Um, and can just be there for you to talk. It's not even about getting advice on how to deal with your diabetes. It's just having people who understand what you're going through. So diabesties, I have so many good friends. I think like if I was to get married tomorrow, I'm nowhere near getting married. If I was to get married tomorrow, I think half of my bridesmaids would be diabetic.
Wow, that's
um,
amazing.
yeah, I have so many good friends with diabetes, and I wouldn't give them up for the world. Um, and then just becoming a stronger person in general. Diabetes is a huge job. Like making up for the work that your pancreas is supposed to do is a huge responsibility. And um, we do that every day, and that makes us
Mhm.
stronger people. And whenever I face a challenge in my life that seems overwhelming, I remember the day I was diagnosed with diabetes and I didn't know if I could do it. And the fact that I've done it and thrived with it,
Of course.
gives me the confidence going into other obstacles that come into my life. And so, um, I don't know, I'm a diabetes. And so if I'm struggling with something or scared of an obstacle that's in my way, I'm like, no, you dealt with diabetes and you killed it with diabetes,
For
and
sure.
you can handle whatever else life throws at you. And then in my book, I talk about, oh man, I might be spacing on one of them, but another one that I really like is that it has given me a passion for something and a way to make a difference in the world. So and it doesn't just apply to diabetes, but being
Mhm.
able to empathize with anyone, because we deal with the feeling of people not understanding us and people making misinformed comments and people making fun of us,
Right.
and people being ignorant, or just the like horrible feeling of like having to deal with diabetes in general without other people's input. And so that's really given me the power to empathize with people who don't have diabetes but are going through some struggle. And I think the ability to empathize with people, whether or not you truly understand what they're going through, is really powerful. So when someone else is going through something hard, taking a step back and being like, it might not be diabetes, but we have the same emotions, and I'm going to try my best to understand what they're going through and be there for them, if
I
that makes
love
sense.
that message and
Yeah.
your motto. Part of why I started Two Avocado Girls was to empower anyone that's struggling with whatever their day to day is, diabetes or life in general, and just to embrace that and rise above. So I appreciate you sharing that story with me.
Thanks so much.
One thing I love is food. I'm a big foodie, and having diabetes, food sometimes is an obstacle. Carbs sometimes are not my friend. So I have been following a low carb lifestyle for the last 3 years. And it definitely helps because I have a chef as a husband. So I get a
Oh,
little
that's awesome.
spoiled with my food, but I've learned so much in the kitchen. So I've been sharing that with my Instagram and my blog that I've started. But thinking of your food, what are some of your favorite dishes? Like, do you love to cook?
Oh gosh. I don't necessarily love to cook, but I love carbohydrates. Um, so I'm not on the same diet as you, and I just take insulin to cover it. My favorite food in the world is grilled cheese sandwiches.
And you're a busy woman. So, what are your favorite snacks to take with you when you're on the road, when you're traveling, when
Ooh,
you're speaking across the world?
that's a good question. I really like granola bars. Oh man, I don't know. I'm probably not as big of a foodie as you. I like granola bars because they're easy and not messy. Um, and then I eat out a lot, which is probably bad. Oh my god, I'm the worst to answer this question.
Where's your favorite restaurant then? Like, if you're on the road, you're like, oh, I'm craving this. I want to go find this.
Oh my god, this is so. um, Probably Applebee's grilled cheese. Oh my gosh, these
Ooh,
are the
grilled
worst
cheese. So,
answers. I'm so sorry.
anywhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm a big dessert person. So, any
Yes,
kind of dessert,
same.
chocolate, I love. What is your favorite dessert?
Oh gosh. Okay. Chocolate cake or cheesecake?
Ooh, that's a big toss
Probably.
up too. I love that.
Yeah.
So when you're low, which we just experienced, what is your go-to food that you have to have?
Fruit snacks are my favorite, or fruit roll-ups. Um, Juice is okay. I If I'm really low, I'll chug some juice. That's like what gets me up the fastest. But um, I enjoy fruit snacks more if they're there.
When I have carbs, I have a carb refuel day a couple times a month. I'm definitely eating fruit snacks. Love that.
Yeah.
So when you're high, because we all have that, diabetes is a roller coaster some days. What do you do to get it down? What's your favorite like exercise or
Sorry. I like to run. Usually when I'm high though, it is because my day is super stressful and I don't have time to work out. So a lot of it is just like taking insulin and waiting it out. And I'm usually my high days are the days that I like. The reason I'm high is because I don't have time to work out, unfortunately. And I usually be like sitting in class, and so I'll just have my decks come on and be able to monitor like keep giving another like you were saying before the interview, keep giving another unit, keep giving another unit.
drinking
But
water?
yeah, yeah. But when I go to the gym, I like to run a lot, and then that's the biggest one that brings down my blood sugar for sure.
Yeah, I've noticed stress is like my major factor. If I'm stressed, my blood sugar shoot up, whether I'm eating
Yeah.
low carb or not. So
Yeah,
I've
yeah, for
incorporated
sure.
some meditation, some relaxation strategies, some yoga, which I'm loving. So I'm following
Yeah,
that on
that's awesome.
Instagram also. Last big question. It's kind of a two-parter. What do you love to do for fun, and what do you do for self-love, just to kind of unwind from your crazy busy lifestyle?
I let's see. I do a face mask every day, which is kind of my relaxation time and when I am like I need to lay down and not do anything or think about anything important. And then I am a huge bath person. I take baths more than I take showers.
Okay.
And then one of my other things is that I have been really good at not procrastinating recently. So what that does is like for example, I can sometimes get in the habit of like sleeping in until my class starts, my first class,
Nice.
going to class and then being like, okay, I'll do my homework when I get home from school. And then my entire evening is just like full of stress and homework. So what I've been doing is like getting up at 7 or 8 a.m. every day, no matter what time my
Oh,
first
wow.
class is, mobbing homework until I go to class, and just being productive. And then my rule is if I am productive from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m., I can go home and then relax, unless something huge is coming up, like a big test or
Sure.
project. My rule is you be productive all day, and then you need to go home and practice self love and self care, and uh, just because I think, and then not take again, another part of that is not taking on too much stuff, uh, so that like that is a possibility. If I'm working hard all day, I can reward myself with some relaxation or some social time, because that really keeps my happiness level up
Great.
and keeps me sane.
Well, awesome. I'm
Yeah.
about to go take a bath, I think. Maybe some Epsom salts,
Yes.
some essential oils. I appreciate you for your being a rock star and an avocado girl. Is there any advice you have for my followers that are just trying to be empowered and be their best self they can be?
I think one of my like number one goals in life is to try to help all of my best friends and everyone love themselves, because I think when I made my decision that I was going to love myself no matter what other people thought of me, I was going to like stay true to my values and love myself. And that's been so empowering. And I think I see it a lot in my friends, and especially young women, that one of the biggest things that holds them back in life is when they is getting caught up in their insecurities and not believing in themselves. And so it's way easier said than done, but
Sure.
make the decision that you are going to love yourself, flaws and everything. And not only should you learn to tolerate and live with your like flaws, but you should
Hmm.
learn to love and embrace them. And I like to tell give an example of my insulin pump is like, how could I ever love a machine that's hooked to my body?
Right.
Um it has become a symbol of the hard work I put into my diabetes every day.
Sure.
It's a trophy that I get to display that like I do a lot of hard work every day to make up for my stupid pancreas that decided, and that makes me a badass. And so my pump, instead of being weird an ugly machine, has become uh, a symbol of like pride in my life. So I encourage you, whether it's an insulin pump or something else, whatever you're caught up on, whatever's causing you not to love yourself, um, really work hard to learn how to love and embrace it rather than hide it or um, hate it, because that is one of the most empowering things you can do to do for yourself, for your career, for your social life, for your just everything. Loving yourself is the best decision you can ever make. So
Yeah, and
make it a priority.
I think it's so important to share that with everyone. So on my page, you'll see some of my things that are insecurities or things I feel uncomfortable with, but you don't know who else is dealing with the same thing. So might as well share
Exactly.
it. I mean, it's
Yeah,
okay to be
exactly. It's
imperfect.
okay. Yeah, and it's okay to feel sad about them sometimes, but and share them and talk about them. And I think one of the things we have is, especially as women, is that I find that a lot of people don't think they have permission to love themselves, because there's so
Right.
much we're encouraged to be humble, and humility is awesome, but if it gets too far, it can really hold you back. So you have permission to love yourself. You are awesome, and stop being down on yourself. Get
Yes.
that attitude out of here. You're amazing, and you need to know it.
And you have permission to not beat yourself up and do your self-care every day, which I love. I
Yes.
appreciate your time so much, Sierra. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
thank you so
send this
much.
to you. I'm gonna edit it, make it all look beautiful
Awesome.
and share it and be on the
Perfect.
lookout for some of our posts coming up in the next couple of weeks. So I appreciate
Awesome.
your time so much.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna take a screenshot up and down
Of
so I
course.
can put it on my story.
Of course.
Oops, I just turned my phone off instead of taking a screenshot. Sorry. Gosh dang it.
It's all right. Love
Skype.
technology.
Oh my god, I did it again. I keep pressing the wrong button. Sorry.
Must be the low blood sugar.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Lovely.
Got it.
All right. You have
Awesome.
a
Thank you so
wonderful
much.
week with school
Thank
and
you.
yourself every day.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.